Hello and welcome to Fusion Fundamentals with me, MJ. Today's video we're going to be making this little incense burner. So it's quite a fun one. I had to scratch my brain a bit to figure out how to do it, but it's actually quite simple once you figure it out. So follow along and see how we go. We'll start this one off by adding a canvas. So I'm going to go insert canvas, and then I've got a picture of a leaf that I've downloaded. I'm going to put that on the top plane and just click OK. Now what we need to do is we need to calibrate this. So you go to the canvas, right click and calibrate. It's going to get the right position, and I measured from that point to that point. I needed it to be 150 millimeters, and there we've got our canvas. So we need a surface to project this onto, and we need to use our AI tool. So we're using Project Salvador, and you can follow the link in the description to get that add-in. It's really cool. So we're going to do generate sketch option. I'll click on my canvas, and it's just going to on the side here show you the progress, and it's going to generate a sketch of the leaf. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you need to do it once or twice, but it does get the job done. Let's see. There we go. So successful. Now I'm going to just turn my canvas off. You can see we've got this outline there of a leaf. I'm going to go ahead and just delete these pieces over there because we're not going to be using them. What I want to do is create a new plane. So I'm going to go construct offset plane, and from the top, from this top plane, I'm just going to drop it down because we're going to be projecting our leaf onto that surface. And now I'll go into create form, and we're going to create a plane on that construction plane. Let's just get a top view here. When we're creating a plane, it's sort of like a center rectangle, so you can just drag it out. I'm wanting it to go past our leaf, not too far, because we're just going to put a bit of a curvature on here. So you can see there's our plane. Now we can, I'm just going to select OK there, and now I want to modify this. So I'm going to say subdivide. So I click modify, subdivide, and we're going to click on all four of these faces. So they'll just give us a bit of extra room to get the shape we want. And then we're going to use symmetry. So the symmetry tool allows you to set one side symmetrical to the other. So now essentially whatever I do on the right hand side, it'll do on the left, and vice versa. So I'm going to hide our sketch for now. I know I want this to be sort of like a curvy shape. So I'm going to click on modify, and these lines, I'm just going to angle up like that. You can see the one on the right is doing the same, and there we're getting that sort of concave bowl shape. We're going to be needing that to, catch the ash from the incense. I'm going to repeat that on this side, and then on the front I'll just curve that up a little bit. So you're just going to make sure you're grabbing onto the right handles. If you're not sure what I'm doing or you're not following, just take some time to get a plane and select an edge. Say we select this edge and you modify it. You can grab on the different handles, move it around, or you can select a whole piece and move that, and that will affect your whole drawing. So this position's actually not too bad, where we've got it there. Let me try to get a better view, just orient myself better. If we put our leaf back on, we can see where we're aiming. So there we've got the leaf kind of curving into a bowl shape and then flattening out around the stem. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to finish form, and then I'll go into create and thicken. So there's a thicken tool here somewhere. There we go, thicken, or you can just press S and type thicken, and I'm going to make this 3 millimeters. So now we've got this solid 3 millimeter thick sort of sheet. Let's turn our sketches back on and we can turn the canvas off. Now I want this to have a wider edge around it, so I'm going to go back into our sketch over here. You can just double click. This is the sketch that we used our Project Salvador tool for, and I'm going to do an offset. So this is going to be an offset of this whole sketch. So I just select it there, and then we're going to drag it out a few millimeters. You'll see why we're doing that now. I'm going to turn, there we go. That's good. Okay. Now I just want to see how that overlaps. See, I actually want it a bit rounder there, so I'm going to go back in there, and you can just use your normal curve tool or your spline tool. Actually going to delete this first. Deleted those three, and then select the spline tool and just follow the curve a bit. So whatever you think this leaf would look like around that curve, because it obviously just projected that flat tip, and that's not really what we want. Now we're going to do a couple of operations. First off, I'm going to use an extrude. Oh, hang on, I forgot a step. So go back into that. I'm going to take a center rectangle, so create center rectangle. From our origin, just draw it out. No specific size, so long as we've got a closed profile around our outer leaf. Then we can use our extrude tool, and I'm going to extrude right down through this profile we created. Click OK, and there's our leaf, the sort of the broader outline. Let's turn our sketches back on. Sorry, that's canvas, sketch back on, and then we're going to use an emboss. So I'm going to go emboss and select our inner leaf, and the face will be obviously this. And I want it to deboss by 1 millimeter or 1.5. Don't want it to go too deep because our leaf is only 3 millimeters thick. We could make it thicker, but I'm going to 3D print this when we're done, and it's going to use a lot of material and time to get it 3D printed. Looking at it now, it does look a little bit thin, so I'll go back into our first extrude, or the thicken operation. There we go, the thicken operation, and we'll make that, let's just make that 4. Okay, so now it'll update everything, and we've got our deboss going into it by 1.5. So that's terrific. We've got that. I actually just want this sketch off. And now a construction plane. So construct offset plane. Now this plane's just got to end up just below here, because we need to make a little stand. Don't want it too far from there, so quite close. That looks good. You can just eyeball this, see how you feel about it, and create sketch. I'm going to create 2 sketches on here. One will be a center diameter circle, sort of, I'll make it 45. And then we'll do an ellipse. So create ellipse. I'll drag that out to there, and then just past the small circle, stretch it out. I mean, this is going to be where our tray is sort of resting on. I'll go extrude. Now the inner circle, extrude it, and extend type will be to object, and we'll select that. And there's our first extrude, and it's a join operation. Now we're going to extrude that bottom one. Extrude, turn our sketch back on, and we'll make sure we select both of these, and we'll go -2 millimeters. That takes us down to there. So there we've got our leaf with our little stand, but what we need to do now is create the little thing to hold the incense burner so it kind of lands up in the middle. So to do that, I need to create a plane over here. So I'm going to just create a sketch on this side plane. If we slice it, it should be down the center, so that's good. And just a straight line going up like this. And this is going to orient our construction plane. So I mean, we could do this a couple of ways, but I'm going to create a plane along path, and I'll select that line we just drew. Okay, now I can already see I'm going to have to move it a bit more forward, but I'll show you how we can play with that. So create sketch on that plane, C for center diameter circle, and we'll make this one say 6 millimeters, and then the inner one 4 millimeters. I'll go 3. So I can see that's not really in the right place, but I'll extrude it just so we can get a better view of what it's doing. And this is going to be a join operation. Let's go view from the side. I might want it a little bit longer than that. That's alright. So we can see now that our plane is following that line, and if I'm not happy, I can just adjust that, get it sort of more centered. And if you, for instance, wanted it to hang over more. So this isn't a terrific way to do engineering because it's not exact, but in product design like this, it has the benefit of being a bit more adjustable and user-friendly. So let's just pull this a little bit more forward. And there we go. I'm going to just drag it up a little bit, because you can see that little bit was sticking through. And I'm not going to worry about it being exact there. And there is our incense burner. We're going to go over to the 3D printer now and see how it turns out. So to do that, let me just save this. So there we've got it saved, and I'm going to file, export, Maple Leaf, and we're going to export that as an STL, and I'm going to export it to my desktop and export. Now we're going to go into our slicer. So there we've got our slicer, and I will just drag it across, drop it in there. It's quite a chunky thing. It's taking up most of the build plate, and you'll see here I've got a standard profile. If you watched the previous video, I had terrible quality prints, and I realized my extruder, or the stepper motor for the filament, hasn't been calibrated, and I haven't gotten around to doing it. So what I'm doing is compensating by setting my overall flow to 175%. So everything is standard except for the flow. I've set that flow to 175%, and my prints are turning out quite nicely. So I'm going to slice that, and we'll see how long it's going to take. I don't know if I put in supports. I hope so. The supports touching build plate, 19 hours. Okay, so that's quite a good bit of time there. But I suppose we've got a lot of support there, and it is quite long. So now we'll put it on the printer. I'll come back tomorrow and see what we got. So there's the finished product, just come off the printer. If you look closely, you can see the layers quite distinctly. So I didn't add a top surface skin, which would have covered some of this. And I probably need to work on my outflow, or just calibrate my printer properly. You can see there's a little gap there. The power went out, and then I had to resume the print, and it left a little mark. Just get it off the bed and see if we can tidy it up a bit. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Also consider joining the membership program, where you get a couple of benefits. Check that out. But until next time, bye.